Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane, of all people. And none of whom have received a mention in the Queen's birthday honours.
No.
Not that I'm aware of.
No, you have to do a bit of handyman work for the Queen, really, to get involved. Well, Gary Barlow's got, what's he got? OBE?
He's turned into the Queen's party organiser.
Yeah,
apparently.
Ents management or something.
I think he's like, what was the name of that fellow in the leather thong we used to talk about, the leather strap?
I don't know, but we didn't talk about that ever.
The pet of George I.
Oh, of course. Peter the Wild.
Peter the Wild, that's what Gary Barlow's become. He's become a pet of the royal household.
I did wonder which fella in a leather thong you meant.
Oh, well, we'd get there in the end. I think Emily had already scribbled down 6 names and held them up to me, all of which are incorrect. Yeah, George I used to have this sort of boy, a feral boy that had been found, and it kept keeping him as a pet. And I feel that Gary Barlow has moved into that role in the current royal household.
He had a collar on him, and Gary does like a chain.
I don't think you should get an OBE for organising a gig, that's all I'm saying.
No.
You know, there's people all over the country organising gigs tonight.
Exactly, yeah, and they're not getting mentioned, are
Your
they?
manager would be waved down with medals.
Exactly.
If that were the case.
He'd be like Mr. T by the end of the week.
He is Mr. T.
There's some blasts from the past, though, Frank. I always like that about the honours list.
I love there is definitely a celebrity dartboard at Buckingham Palace that she just chucks at. And Jenny Agutter, yeah, that'll do. Amanda Redman, okay, do it.
Richard Stilgo.
Richard Stilgo. Richard Stilgo. I bet that was the Queen saying, "Who was that bloke with a who was that bloke with a beard?" Google it. No, bloke with used to like comedy songs. Richard, that's him. Richard still got it. Got it. Let's give him something in the honours list. Well, he hasn't done anything for. Nah, do it. Let's, Ruth Maddock. How come she missed out?
Ruth Maddock?
Yeah.
Did she get one
No, she
before?
didn't. But why not?
But she might already have one. Do you know that she hasn't?
No, I don't know that she hasn't. What do you think I am?
You're keenly following.
I didn't
Ruth
skip
Maddock's
through Ruth Maddock's
career.
CV before the show. I do generally, but this morning I had other stuff on.
Mary Archer.
Mary Archer's got one.
She got one for being married to Lord Archer.
Yeah, for standing by him.
Is it like a putting up with him award or something?
By the way, if you want to text us about anything, including the Queen's honours, but anything, you can text us on 8 12 15. Some street sweeper bloke got one. I never read those bits. You know, and it says the ordinary heroes section.
Oh, the civilians.
Come off it. I mean, we're pushing it a bit with Richard Stilgo. But let anyone in a high-vis jacket receiving an honour, no thanks. What about this Prince Charles?
Has he got one?
He's been given. It says in the Sun or the Mirror this morning, I think it was in the Mirror. It says that because he stood in for the Duke of Edinburgh when he had his illness. What did he have? Some sort of kidney infection or something?
I think it was the bladder.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I had to say
said
it.
that
I
this
know.
time of the morning. Well, anyway, because he stood in for him, he's been given. He's been promoted to 5-star rank in all 3 of the armed forces. Well, I mean that's
a turn up for the birds.
That's a bit like Idi Amin being the heavyweight champion of Uganda. That's the Queen just playing the role of evil puppet master. Just because I can, I'm going to do it. In all 3 of the armed forces.
Yeah.
Greedy. Apparently, my producer's just given us a note. You can follow us on Twitter.
Oh. Yes, I've got the Twitter page up.
Yeah, you can call it. We're at Frank on Absolute. I have to say I profoundly...
Frank, don't say something rude about Twitter. You're about to, aren't you?
I despise Twitter in all its aspects.
Despise it!
But there we are, I've read it out now, and if you feel you must do it, do it. But you'll get short shrift from me.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Well, the Cockerels handed out the dime bars. Excelente.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It is exciting. I will say this, they are my favourite chocolate bar of all the
discussed
chocolate
it a few
bars.
weeks ago,
Yeah.
and then my wife was going to a well-known Swedish furniture shop, and I said, "Can you bring some of those bars back?
Can
I'll
I-
take them into the show."
I think you were having a themed football celebration last night and you're a bit ashamed to admit it.
Yeah.
The Swedes.
Yeah, I think you were.
Yeah.
Did you see the football, Frank?
I did see the football. Can I say something before we go on to the football, though? That the producer, Daisy, was bringing in something of a year zero, a sort of Pol Pot approach to radio. I think because we were recently voted the third most
Frank.
entertaining radio show, she's now going for gold, as it were, Henry Kelly style. And as well as us being on Twitter, she this morning's texting, and I'm very much following instructions here, is what are you up to this weekend? Just text in on 8, 12, 15 and let us know.
Really
Is it
throwing
8, 12,
yourself into
15?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you up to this weekend? Anything unusual? There you go. That's
I love the way you really sold that.
well, I left
Yeah.
a Pinteresque pause at the end so people could think, oh, he means me. You never know, we might find out people... the sort of listeners we've got, who knows what they'll be up to this weekend? Nobody?
Most of them in an alcoholic fog.
I think not.
Okay.
No. What do you mean because of the football, or just generally?
That's
People do
fine.
like a tipple when it comes to the football, don't they? It's not a nice excuse to get...
I don't. You know why? I'm
I
a
do.
recovering alcoholic.
God.
So I don't like a tipple.
Breakfast radio.
Oh yeah, sorry everyone. I'm not really recovering. I'm just holding on tightly. Well, I watched it. I watched the football. I thought it was rather splendid. I'm a big
Did
fan
you?
of the England manager.
You love him,
Of course.
don't you?
I do love him because he did wonderful things for my club side. So,
He has a lovely little celebration, Frank. I love his dance.
well, he's a as much as there is an element of little old man about him. He's like a little round-shouldered old man. He's the sort of blokes when I was a kid used to have their own shopping bag. Used to think it out. I don't know if people have shopping bags anymore because they use like plastic ones. But people used to have ones that like leather look type shopping bags. Do you remember those?
Yes, I do.
Do they still exist?
I think certain people have them.
Well, anyway, but usually it was women, middle-aged women who carried them around our area, but occasionally you'd see often widowed, and he'd be out, or an infirmed wife. He'd be out with a shopping bag. And Roy's got that kind of look to him. But he's, I love him.
See, I did a lot of martial arts when I was a teenager. And,
Did you now?
and sometimes you'd get men of a certain age coming along, and they'd look frail like him, but when you actually touch them, they'd feel like they were made of rock.
Oh, yes.
Hold it, you touched them.
In a competitive martial art way. But
You see-
I've got a feeling he's one of them. Like, he looks
He
more
might-
frail than he is, but then I bet if you went and tried to push him over, he just wouldn't move. He'd just be like,
Do you think?
what are you trying to push me over for?
Roy Hodgson, a sort of secret ninja.
Yeah,
I love the idea of that. Ibrahimovic was playing last night, a Swedish player, who I think is the ugliest footballer in the world.
Ironically, in
Wow.
the same team as the most beautiful footballer in the world, Olaf Melberg.
Oh yes, I'm with you there.
Unbelievably attractive.
He's a very handsome one.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Well, now you've come a long way from martial arts. See, you prod these old men when you're young, and who knows where it can end up.
He is definitely
Yes,
my
I'm with you
footballer
there.
crush. He's unbelievable.
Well, we didn't know you had one until about 2 minutes ago.
But I'm glad to hear that. Melberg, not Melberg, Ibrahimovic is one of those blokes with a very small head. I mean, a small head, but a thick, muscular neck.
Right.
So his head actually is less wide than his neck, which is... he looks like the end of a biro. You know, the metal sort of thing that has the ball. That's what I find him terrifying in appearance. I'm very glad they're out of the tournament. I don't want my small baby having to
No,
be
you don't want him
confronted.
exposed to that.
No, terrifying human being.
I'd like to discuss the commentary box at some stage. Well, I want to discuss Alan Hansen's tuft of hair. We might have to come back to this. I don't know if there's time for it. I've got a lot to say
Well,
on
it sounds like it could be quite a long... I mean, I like... One of the things about the camera coverage in the Euros is, and I'm sure you've noticed this, it's oft commented on, that the cameramen spend most of the game looking for babes.
Yes.
They always look for babes. But I noticed very early on in the game last night, with the England fans, they decided to settle for colourful characters. They gave up, completely gave up on the babe hunt. What a sad indictment of this country.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Despite your views on Twitter,
Yes.
they have been tweeting our listeners.
Good.
We've had Paul Comerford. Let's.
Cummerbund.
No, not Cummerbund.
Stitching back to the... when I said Pol Pot earlier, they thought it was Paul Potts, and they've come in with a Cummerbund remark. Oh, what a mix-up.
Morning, Frank and team. Thanks for despising us all.
Oh.
What do you think of England's chances? And I agree with you. If you want to get on telly at the Euros, take a good-looking woman with you.
Yes, well, as with film premieres. Yes, but let's not treat women like that we take them as some sort of photo-gaining device. Good God. I think we've come on a bit since then, haven't we?
Well, what am I going to do with my time then? I can't do that.
Here's something is it about my chance? Our chances? Was that the question?
Yes, England's chances.
Well, I just love I love the wise old fox manager. I love an old manager.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. It just like there's something incredibly cool about grey hair on a football bench.
Is this Roy you're talking
Yes,
about?
Roy.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we were discussing frail old men, someone's texted in saying, talking of frail old men, I met one at work the other day, and it turns out he was in the SAS. He even had the tattoo.
So still a killing machine, you think?
I think so. I don't think you ever lose that, do you?
Yeah. So be careful. See, if we spread this more, we might stop people.
People have been more
knocking old people about, and
Yeah.
you know, you get those purple pensioners in the paper. I hate that.
Bang.
That to me is when society has really gone wrong. So, just bear in mind, any one of them could be SAS.
Yeah.
And because you can't do people, you can't appeal to their compassion. You have to frighten them. It's these people. Yes. And
You like wisdom on the bench at the football. The wisdom of Roy. He's a smart
he's
cookie,
wise,
isn't he?
He's very. When he was at West Brom, we had a unbeaten run of I think 13 games, but we got beaten, as every team does eventually. And they said, "So how do you feel about the end of your unbeaten run?" And he said, "Well, as the Chinese say, not even the tallest tree grows all the way to heaven."
Oh, I love that.
Which is why he didn't pick Peter Crouch. Apparently.
Frank, we still have yet to discuss Alan Hansen's. Well, I'm going to call it his troubling tuft.
I didn't notice his tuft.
You didn't notice it? How can you not? So he wears a powder blue shirt quite often, I've noticed. But there's a little tuft. It's exactly where
it's
he's
a
done the
chest
button
hair
up.
thing.
Yes, it's like a little flaming Olympic torch of hair.
Oh, I thought you meant head hair.
No.
Tough.
I'm talking about here. Because Alan Shearer, he goes for the loose gym owner. He has
Too
like
many
3...
buttons undone.
No, I thought bang on, actually.
No, we're going to have to disagree on this.
Oh, dear. Oh,
Definitely.
Buttongate.
Definitely. Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I just think it was distracting me. It was distracting me the whole night, I'm afraid.
I think Gary Lineker looks a bit less grey.
Do you?
wonder
What are
if
you
he's-
suggesting, Frank?
I wonder if he's
Dunno
just
about
darken
face.
it just a little bit.
All right, you're going in shades.
Yeah, you never know. But do I think we can win it? Well, I always think that to some extent. But I tell you what, I think it was Fabio. Well, it was Fabio Capello who said some players are not in their top moment, and when that happens, hey, stick around. That's what I say. Hey. I'll give you another Roy Hodgson moment. They were talking. He said, I think that the
There'll
manager.
be 1 hour this
It's
morning.
important that the manager, he says, should is the dominant figure in the dressing room. He said, as the Scandinavians feel that the church should always be in the centre of the village. I mean, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not enough of that. Can you imagine? Mark Lawrenson saying the trouble is that the back four, they're lying so deep that if they don't come forward more and get closer to the midfield, I feel that Titmouse may fall prey to the viper. But doesn't happen. Doesn't happen, that kind of thing.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, you were asking our listeners what they were doing this weekend. And
Yes, I did ask
Somewhat
that.
begrudgingly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I am interested. It just feels a bit like what DJs ask their listeners?
Well, I don't think you'll be disappointed by this response.
Okay.
Extraordinary. This is Stephen Smith. Frank, I'm climbing St Hubert's steeple. I'm also holding an onion.
Well, St Hubert's is the school I went to, and in fact the church I was, I was baptised, First Communion, First Confession, Confirmation. All happened for me at St Hubert's.
Lovely.
It's a big steeple, I'll tell you that.
Is it?
It's a tall one. Massive white cross on its seat from all
Why
around.
is he holding an onion?
I don't know what the onion element is. Is he trying to get access to his children? Is he one of those tower climbers?
He'd have one of those fancy dress costumes.
Is he dressed as the Silver Surfer?
And it would still have the creases from the cellophane packet.
Oh, no. I was thinking about that myself this week. The baby was crying. And I thought, maybe if I get up a tower and shouted, "Keep your access," we could reverse the whole process.
I'll tell you what, if you do want to make it a more interesting texting, rather than what you're doing this weekend, what are you wearing on your protest to get access to your children? It's quite niche, though, isn't it? It's quite specific.
I think a texting, "What are you wearing?" could be the closest to a sort of formalised sex pest act you could possibly have.
You know, people are going to text in now with what they're wearing. Black jeans, black
I would
t-shirt,
genuinely like to know what people are wearing.
We know what they're all wearing tour t-shirts. Everyone who listens to this is wearing a tour t-shirt of some kind. I mean, there's some variety in that. I don't deny it.
Yeah. Probably a few in Frank Skinner tour t-shirts.
Oh, I shouldn't think any of those still exist. I've put out some terrible merchandising in my time.
Have you?
Awful, ugly
What are you
things.
least proud of? Have you done
I'm
mugs?
least proud of. I had a mug with a rather coarse joke in full on it, and we've got one
Can
in
you
our
not
mug
repeat it
cupboard.
on
We can't.
Oh.
Couldn't possibly. But
why did you think it was fit to print on a mug?
I don't know what got into me. But I look at it now in the mug cupboard, and honestly, it makes me want to heave up.
Does it?
Honestly, I'm not kidding. I find it. I am embarrassed by it in the cold light of day.
Really?
It feels so
beneath you.
Not beneath me, but it just feels a bit coarse for a mug. I don't mind a bit of filth, but never on pottery.
No.
It's good to have a rule, isn't it?
Yeah. Grayson Perry taught me that, and you can learn a lot from that man.
Frank,
Stroke woman.
Alan has texted in on 867. Ivor Badil is my neighbour. Does anyone else? Do any other listeners have a famous neighbour?
Ivor Badil, of course, is the brother of David Badil.
So if you have to explain it and then give someone a footnote, that generally means they don't count. Does he count as famous?
No, many. There's always some people who don't know. I think he's. I regard him as no.
Okay. Well, I share a personal trainer with him, so you know.
Do you still go to your personal trainer?
Well,
No, is that a question you must never ask? Is that like when you meet an actor and you say, "What are you up to at the moment?"
Yes.
Oh,
I did that the other day.
Yeah.
Did you? Can't. Do you still go?
That sounds as if you're saying, because you don't look as if you do.
No, I wasn't saying that for a second. I can't see you behind that computer screen. You could be as lithe as a young wench.
Not as often as I should. And either...
Does anyone go to their personal trainer as often as they should?
Probably not.
That's this week's texting.
Well, people are texting in with what they're wearing. I'm still naked. You're making me laugh loads. What am I wearing? Just my dressing gown. Time to get dressed.
No, that's not hurry. If you're laughing that much, might be an idea just to wear something absorbent.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Oh, I've got dime bar on my top. It's awful.
Dime bar on my top. Ooh, dime bar on my top.
Can you get us a cloth, please? And some soapy
cloth?
water. Yes? Thank you.
We're not usually desperate for material, listen.
Frank, Ricky Oliver has tweeted us.
Ricky?
Yes.
Tweeted?
At Frank on Absolute.
Truly, this is the 21st century.
He says, you were asking earlier, what are you wearing? In a sort of off-the-cuff way.
Off the cuff, what are you wearing? It's all
Genuinely responded.
happening. Oh, brilliant.
I'm wearing a blazer coupled with a claret chino sans tour t-shirt.
Very good.
Claricino and blazer.
Can I say, he sounds very up my strata.
He does. I like the idea of someone dressing formally to listen to the show.
When he says Sans T-shirt, do you think he's just got a blazer on?
Oh, that would be good.
I bet he's got a shirt.
That'd be
I bet he's got a
slightly
stripy shirt.
Oh, yeah.
A Breton.
A Breton.
Maybe
Breton over
no,
a blazer.
not a Breton. I mean, like a dress shirt, but with stripes.
Oh, I
like
understand.
what members of the Conservative Party wear.
Well, I love the sound of him. 437, what colour cape is Frank wearing today? Does he accessorise?
Yeah, I have to say I haven't actually bitten the bullet with the cape yet.
No.
I mean, I was all talk. I was all mouth and no cape.
Do you know what would be good? To get like a sport cape for the England team instead of a tracksuit top. They could come on and do their little
They don't call them tracksuit tops anymore. They call them anthem jackets.
They don't.
I'm afraid they do.
Has the world gone mad?
Well, even if you wear them in the street,
Has
you
the
have to
world
call
gone
them
mad?
anthem.
That's the other texting today. And that one was sponsored by Richard Littlejohn.
Has the entire garment been renamed as a result? So if you wear it in the street or to the gym, it's still an anthem jacket.
Still an anthem jacket, yeah. You still have to stand up with the merest inkling of God Save the Queen.
Oh, no, I don't like the idea of that.
Do you like the idea of an anthem jacket?
No, that's turned my stomach.
Hopefully, one of our listeners will text in and say, "I'm actually wearing an anthem jacket this morning and nothing else."
Oh.
Hey, what about that for a Jubilee celebration? You know what I'm talking about? I went out this week. It's the first time I've been allowed out socially since my baby was born. And I celebrated that most heterosexual of all acts, fatherhood, by seeing Liza Minnelli live.
Oh, lovely. Oh,
Thus-
you love a diva.
Yes, covering both bases. She was live at Hampton Court Palace.
Oh.
Beautiful setting, obviously.
Well, you don't have to sell Hampton Court to me.
No, well, I was a little bit sulky about the Reformation. Beginning of the evening, but, I just thought, no, come on.
Move on.
Put that behind you, and it was fabulous. We arrived. I went with a friend because Kath. Well, first of all, she's obviously busy with a baby, but also she hates Liza Minnelli.
Oh, that's a very strong response.
It is. She actually got seasick. She claimed last time we saw her live because she said it was so like a cruise ship, which I thought was cutting in the extreme. I love Liza Minnelli. So I took a friend who also loves her, Emma, and we were given Jamie Oliver hampers.
Oh, lovely, Frank.
Can you imagine it? Obviously, mainly full of confiscated turkey Twizzlers.
Yes.
Do they still confiscate, actually? Does that still happen at schools?
What, at schools?
That things get
I
confiscated?
believe so,
No,
yeah.
because kids turn around and say, I know my rights now.
Yeah, I think they probably do.
So you're not
yeah.
allowed.
Oh, right. I remember when rights used to be used to spring political prisoners from Central American detainee centres, and now it's like if a burglar gets shouted at a bit loud by the householder. How did that happen? Anyway, I don't know how we got to there from Liza Minnelli. It's a funny old show, isn't it? In many ways. Not every way. I'll accept that. I'll tell you something, is that one thing that people end up now asking me about my child and commenting on his name. Regular listeners to the show will know that he's actually called Boz, which is... thanks, Daisy, for letting me down again on the timing-wise. But... so some people respond to it in quite a negative way, but I met Sir David Frost. I mean, I've met him before, obviously. Well, we once had dinner at Andrew Lloyd Webber's house. But anyway, I met Sir David Frost and we chatted, and he said, "Oh, you've got a child now?" And I said, "Yeah." And I think what he said. He said, "You're a bit of a late starter." I said, "I'm a bit of a late starter." He said, "No, you're not a late starter. How old are you?" I said, 55. He said, "Oh, no, you are a late starter." Okay, that's that cleaned up.
That's flattering, though, isn't it?
But I said, what, that I look young, you mean?
Yeah,
Oh, to Sir David Frost. We all do.
It's quite ancient.
Yeah. Brilliant, though. It's very exciting meeting him.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. But anyway, I he got even more excited because I said he's called Buzz, named after Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut. He said, I presented that moon landing for ITV. Best response ever to the name. And he still remembered the ratings figures.
Of course he did.
Yeah, he said it was one of the few occasions when ITV and BBC have shown the same event and ITV won on ratings. He said, and we got 3 times more.
Really?
He said, and I'll tell you why. And then he gave me a little bit of a TV background information.
That's someone that's worked in telly a while, that knows the numbers on everything they've done. That's
but who
great.
presented the moon landing.
Wow.
Absolutely fantastic.
Didn't you watch it with a whippet? Is that right?
Yeah.
I watched it with a whippet, yeah. He watched it with Peter Cook, I think, was in the studio. They had a sort of a moon panel,
No doubt
apparently.
smoking. Everyone would have been smoking.
Oh, yeah. They made comical remarks
Excellent.
about the moon landing. How fantastic that. So that's the best thing anyone's said to me this week.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. It's 7:34.
Oh, it's very shipping forecast. I love that.
That wasn't the time. That was that's the score in a game of
Ping pong.
video ping pong I'm playing at the moment. I mean, we should have stopped at 21, but to hell with it. It's my attitude. If you want to text us about anything, do it. We'll be on 8, 12, 15.
And they have. We've got several strands, really.
Hold it. You
Oh,
can
sorry.
follow us on
I'm
Twitter.
sorry.
Get over that if you can. You can follow us on Twitter at Frank on Absolute. That's called. Blimey, what am I? An announcer?
Some kind of media figure. All these different ways of getting in touch.
German Fisher Dogger Bank. It's like that. Might as well be doing that. Just saying words on bits of paper. I'm an artist. I can't work like this. So she was sitting in front of us, Vanessa. I didn't recognise her, actually, but...
Vanessa Feltz.
Vanessa Feltz, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't...
Liza Minnelli.
Yes, thanks for...
recap, 'cause we've
That's
crossed
lovely
the hour and
professional
there's lots of things
recap.
happened.
You're assuming everyone joins on the hour in a very formal fashion. Get the blazer on and the chinos. It's 10 to, but let's wait till the actual hour before we go in.
Sitting in a little Chesterfield. I'll be bound.
I like the idea they come in on the news. You know? So that Sandy War is a ramp to me, just to get them used to the human voice. Yeah, that'd be good. She's got the best voice on radio, I think.
She has.
It's creamy, isn't it? It's like Bailey's. It is like Bailey's.
Meanwhile, over in Hampton Court with Vanessa Feltz and Liza Minnelli...
There's a woman sitting in front of us who just was on her phone. You know, I've talked about this before. Light pollution during a gig. People think if they're on silent, it's okay to tweet, text, look at their emails, go smartphone, check the reading for next week's mass. Actually, it's probably only me that does that.
Yeah, I think that's only you.
But, and this woman, it was a constant pool of light just in the corner of my eye, you know, really annoying. And I said, God, where's that woman come? She's just on the phone. I said, that's Vanessa.
Oh, was it?
Oh.
And so I had to look at her Twitter.
You didn't?
Yeah. No, that was a quote from Mr. Motivator. Just read out. It wasn't him, actually. I said to him once, so you went out with Vanessa, and he said, no, that was a different
I know,
black
it's
personal
one of the
trainer.
worst
That's
things
very
you've ever done.
embarrassing.
It might be the worst thing you ever did.
But what I liked, he just hit me straight with it. He didn't dilly-dally, and I took it, I took it like being hit by a cannonball.
You, of course, meant Dennis Duhaney. I'm so proud I know that name.
I meant Dennis Duhaney, yeah.
Yes.
But anyway,
Good
but I couldn't really complain because I'd already been shushed by a man of theatrical tendencies. Let's put it that way.
Was he gay?
Because he may have been. Because when Liza did Ladies, he's a tramp and I love him.
Oh,
that song from Ladies a Tramp. She did a brilliant version of He's a tramp, but I couldn't resist 2 verses in going, row, 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 row.
You didn't.
Row, row, row. I just couldn't. I
You
didn't
did
even
not
know I was
tell
doing
me you
it.
didn't do
By
that.
the time she'd got to the He's a tramp, and I was going, oh, man. I just couldn't. It's impossible to hear someone.
Please tell me you're joking.
I'm not joking.
Oh, my God.
It's impossible to hear someone sing
Real
that
ill.
song without going.
It was possible for everybody else there, though, wasn't it?
It's possible for any human being to not bark like a dog throughout that song.
No, but that song is what is so profoundly associated with canine backing vocals. I don't know how anybody. You'd have thought the whole crowd would have gone at least on the. He's a Trevor, I love him. Oh.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
So,
Liza Minnelli
yes.
did a song called "The World Goes Round." You know that song? With the world goes round. No, and
I think so.
she mentions winter, spring, summer, and fall.
All right.
It's the first time it struck me, that thing. I mean, I know we all know it. The Americans call autumn fall.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a sign of simplicity, isn't it, of the nation? Fall, because stuff falls at that time. Like, you're going to call summer bright.
You're just angry on Marquis Smith's behalf. That's the only reason you've got any issues.
Bods, you could call spring. It's rubbish. Brr. Winter. Fall.
I love season anger. That's good.
Yeah, there isn't enough of that. We've had some confiscation news, haven't we? I was
have.
asking in the previous hour, this is based on the theory that the Cockerel has, that no one tunes in across the hours.
Not my theory.
It's a sort of a...
We bring them into things that are running.
Yeah, okay. That, does confiscation still happen in
Yes.
school? Also, is the word used anywhere else? I've never heard of anyone having anything confiscated.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a football match.
Drew Barton says, Frank, you were asking if we...
Joey Barton?
No, not Joey Barton. Drew Barton.
Oh, okay.
Says, Frank, you were asking if we still confiscate things. Now, from that I'm assuming he's part of the teaching fraternity.
Yeah, sounds like it.
My school does.
Mr. Barton.
Yes. My school does, and the two top items confiscated on a daily basis are mobile phones and energy drinks. That's Drew in Edinburgh.
Times change.
The producer gasped.
Yeah. Energy drinks is a big one.
Yeah.
That's because they're up all night, I suppose.
Why are they up all night?
Well, you know what they're like now. Walking the streets.
In their hoods.
Parents at home on drugs. Eh?
Yeah.
Devil dog in the corner. What's happened?
Me.
What's happened?
What?
Not you. You got to whip it. Under no circumstances is that a devil dog.
There, that's not a devil dog, particularly not in your house.
Anyway, speaking of broken Britain, what about David Cameron and his child neglect?
I know. Well, you say neglect.
What do you say?
Well, I say welcome to my childhood.
Okay.
This is Pubgate,
the child
for those
was left
of you
in
that
a
haven't
pub.
noticed.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
child was left in a pub.
Nancy, isn't it?
Nancy
Yes.
Delorio.
Nancy Cameron, who is the 8-year-old daughter.
I was going to say, I'm sure she's been left in a pub quite a few times on her own.
Yeah, when the bloke said, I'm just nipping to the toilet, he's gone out the back door and left Nancy sitting there. Oh, very well, it's great. Where is it? It's been a very long time. Must be something come up unexpectedly. That was moving towards that transsexual that won Big Brother.
It was Nadia meets Count Duckula, and I rather liked it.
Well, it's a great combo, always.
So he left his 8-year-old child Nancy in the
pub.
in the boozer. Yeah.
So first of all, she was in a pub, which we might question, but then they forgot her when they left.
Well, they were there with other friends, weren't they?
Oh, well, that's all right then.
And the security teams, and I think the story from Cameron's lot was that he got in the car with the
His
security
politics are coming
people.
out now, Frank.
No.
Politics are all coming
The
out.
security people took Cameron home, and Samantha took the other children home, and she thought he had the girl, and he thought she had the girl.
Well, that's not what I heard. Let's put it that way.
No, I personally think that it's a weird thing, innit? Because everyone's saying, oh, Cameron lost the girl. I see it as that the girl escaped for 15 minutes. She got away from it. Maybe she wants to leave. Perhaps she thinks his politics are insincere.
I heard there'd been a big row.
Yeah.
Apparently Nancy looked up from her trifle and said, I feel that there should be a period of growth
Yes.
to re-establish the economy before we start cutting public services. And also, I was never happy with those people from News International coming round horse riding. And then she stormed off to the toilet, and Cameron left in a huff. And Sam Cam was saying no. He said, no, leave her! No, leave her! Leave her if she wants to be like, no, leave her! And it took about 5 miles for Sam Cam to talk him out of it, and they went back. That's what I heard. I don't know, gossip is, it's cheap, isn't it?
Fun.
And also fun. What else is gossip? Another texting on the Frank Show on Absolute Radio. Adjectives to describe gossip.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, just because Gary Barlow has got somewhere, no need to rubbish him. Not my words, but the words of 887.
Well, I wouldn't say I was was I? Actually, I was rubbishing him. Has he got somewhere?
To the palace, Buckingham Palace.
But is that where spiritual fulfilment lies?
No, and it's only down the road, isn't it? We could walk there after the show if we wanted.
Yeah.
When you say he's got somewhere, he's got near enough the same place
we wouldn't get in. We're not the Boy Jones, famous royal intruder. We might discuss later in the show.
I think there's a buzzer. We could just pretend that we are. Like, hello, it's the Boy Jones.
Mates are Gary's. You know Gary.
Yeah, I'm opening the gate now.
No, fine, Gary. I don't begrudge him anything.
On the other subject of somebody saying that they live next door to Ivor Baddiel.
Oh, yes.
We've had a text in. I live next door to the 1966 goalie who played for West Ham, and he's a top fella. Nice, isn't
1966 goalie who played for West Ham.
Oh. Is that Gordon Banks?
No, he didn't play for West Ham.
Oh, didn't he?
Who is it then?
Well, it's an unfortunate year to just be playing league football.
Why?
I'm just saying, because I assume if it's 1966, he would have been in the England winning side.
No, but still a great honour. There's a bloke called... it's not going
no
to
Ivor
football
Baddiel.
Trivia. We're on the wrong show. Let's face it.
Frank, I'm not done. Re the pub and the Cameron child.
Okay.
The thing I found most alarming was one of the papers said she was found helping staff in the pub.
I bet he found that alarming. Oh, my God. You turn your back for 10 minutes. They've crossed the class barrier.
I should never have sent her to school.
We'll never get it. We'll never tease her into a food fight at university now. She'll be serving it.
She won't be wearing a claret blazer.
No.
Claret chino, I'm sorry.
Little Nancy has broken the mould. Brilliant.
But that happened to me quite often. I'd get mislaid. I mean, there was no sort of malice behind it.
No.
Happened to me in Harrods once.
In Harrods?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. Yes.
How long were you left?
Well, quite some time. I think I'd gone on a bit of a toy rampage. I was running around the toy department.
Yeah.
So there was an element of free will involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, I seem to... It was quite a while. I don't know where my mum...
Was there an announcement?
There was an announcement, yeah.
It used to be quite common in shops, announcements. A small child is here. But you don't hear it now.
You get it in shopping centres. I think they do codes so as not to alarm people.
Like Mr. Sand?
Yeah.
In theatres, if there's a fire, they say, "Is Mr. Sand in the building?" Mm-hmm. Somebody said that Mr. Smoke was one of them. I said, you need one that's a bit more difficult to work out than Mr. Smoke is in the building. Oh, good.
They have one in London Underground.
Mr. Inferno.
If there's been a fouling of some sort.
A fouling?
What's that
yes.
then? What's that?
Or it's something like, "Would Mr. Orange please come to the..." Yeah, they have all sorts of code words.
I think when I worked in a nightclub, if there was a fight on the dance floor, they'd say something like, "Could Mr. Black go to the dance floor?" or something like that. All the bouncers would start running. Yeah.
Trouble on the dance floor.
They couldn't say there's trouble on the dance floor, could they?
Oh, that's just a
Everyone
pity.
would start discoing.
That is a pity. I remember, I don't think I was ever left by my parents.
No?
Partly because they were very caring and attentive, but mainly because we never went anywhere. I don't remember leaving my garden for about 8 years. But I got lost coming back from my Auntie Ethel's. I went to my Auntie Ethel's with my mum. And I got a bit bored, and she said, "Go back then." It was only probably half a mile up the road, and I got completely lost. Because I get lost all the time, as you know, and even then as a child. I got utterly and completely lost, and got back about 2 hours later, by which my mum had returned home. I don't remember there being a massive kerfuffle. I seem to remember it. "Where have you been?" "I got lost." Oh. I remember it being like that.
And had you been terrified? Because it's really scary as a kid to be lost, isn't it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Did you?
I felt very free and independent.
I didn't mind it. I think it was then that I developed the little boy lost look, which has stood me in good stead for my whole adult life. So every cloud.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Right, we've had an email in.
An email? No, hold on. I've got a new jingle for emails. Just stick around. Email corner. This is one I impromptu did last week, and Daisy, our producer, captured it like one might a feral creature. Email corner. Whether it was worth the effort, of course, we can debate till the cows come home.
I like that you edited out me saying, "Oh God," afterwards. I think that was a good idea. This is from Libby Lumley.
Libby Lumley, I'm already liking.
Well, she's something of a troubadour, a traveller.
Oh,
She
yeah.
says, "I've downloaded your podcasts while living and working in the Bahamas, Hong Kong, Michigan, China,
Wow.
and for the last 18 months on a little island in St Vincent and the Grenadines."
Brilliant.
Well, she'd been stockpiling all the podcasts to keep her amused on her journey back. For 6 weeks, I sailed back to the UK on a 60-foot schooner and spent many hours listening to your amusing chats whilst being violently ill in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean during a gale.
Oh dear, I must admit I've been made violently ill by a large schooner on many occasions when I used to have sherry for breakfast. Carry on.
There were quite a few times when I thought I might not make it back to land alive.
Oh, blimey.
And one of the many thoughts on why this would be a shame would be that I'd never find out the news on the birth of Frank's child.
What?
So when we finally hit land, the Azores,
Yes.
I downloaded the missing podcasts and heard the wonderful news of the safe arrival of Buzz. Congratulations,
God.
Frank and Kath.
Oh, absolutely lovely.
That's from Libby.
Libby Lumley.
Libby Lumley from Oxford.
I like Libby Lumley. It sounds like...
I think...
actually, I can't actually say what it sounds like, Libby. But it gives me hiccups.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
What else?
Goonies t-shirt, Mick in Somerset.
We did accidentally ask what listeners were wearing today in a non-seedy way.
Yes.
Goonies t-shirt is excellent.
Well, not for me, it's not. I walked out of that film when I was 14.
Did you?
It was my first walk out. I walked. I said, this is terrible. Even though I was a
liked
child,
it.
I knew it was awful.
I
Oh, that's
liked it,
okay.
and still do.
Each to their own.
And
I
he
think-
also is conforming very much to what we would guess of the absolute listener.
What,
The
Goonies fans?
Goonies t-shirt,
Yeah.
his Converse.
Well, he hasn't mentioned any other items. I'm imagining
Nothing else,
still in just a Goonies t-shirt, just still in bed maybe.
Right.
Or maybe he's
think
got
that's his
up.
version of the pyjama top.
He's got up and thought, "Oh, to hell with the kitchen chair." And he's just sitting having his breakfast in just a Goonies t-shirt. My little tip for you is J-cloth and a bit of Dettol afterwards. No harm done. No harm done. So where were we? What was we talking? Oh yeah, what about another dip into email corner?
We could have a dip
Yeah.
into email
Hold on,
corner.
let's find me. Oh, email corner. Here we go. Email corner.
Was that recorded in 1973 on a boat?
I thought you'd done it with a different tune, like email corner.
Yeah, well, Daisy probably
Anyway.
picked the wrong one. She's having a mare, let's face it.
We've had an email titled "An IEM Idiotic Eureka Moment," which is those moments where you realise that something is. Yeah.
Do you
Hello.
think when people inquire after the whereabouts of a racehorse, people actually ever say who's having a mare at the moment? Sorry, carry on.
Hello, Frank, the lovely Emily, and Alan. Brackets. Look, I spelt it right. I hope you are duly impressed. That's
Alan
to
with
me.
a U.
Alan with a
You
U.
should write a version of that, like Liza with a Z.
Yeah.
Which is a Liza Minnelli song.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
It's Alan with a U, not Alan with an A, because Alan with the U spells.
Yeah, I do.
Alan.
Little,
That would be quite camp if he did that every time he said his name.
performance rap.
It'd be quite camp. It'd be another mighty leap from a childhood of martial arts.
This is the idiotic eureka moment that this person has had. Gareth.
I should explain
Gareth.
to new listeners that an
Yes.
idiotic eureka moment is something that it's a sort of something that you realise much later than everyone else, like getting a joke. Or last week, par exemple, someone said that they'd read their whole lifetime and heard about the animals going in 2 by 2 on the Ark, and never thought that there would be a male and a female, and they were 2 by 2 for.
I must have spoken to 3 people that agreed with that. So
Me too, and I was in that Venn diagram.
A lot of people are like that.
So,
did they assume it was like a newsagent where you only allow 2 school children in at the same time?
No, I thought they were maybe going out, but
you didn't realise they were actually having the physicals.
Strictly platonic until they're on the boat.
Yeah.
Don't have rules.
It would have been hard, though, in that period of history to be strictly platonic, wouldn't it?
Why?
Wouldn't he have been pre-Plato?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, Frank, you're
Very
so smart. I love it.
You'd have to be pre-platonic.
I've only just realised that things like Bet365 and Football 365 are related to there being 365 days in a year. I was previously incredibly confused why websites always put the same random number in their name. I feel both relieved and ashamed by this. That's Gareth, who presumably is also confused by the number of shops called 24/7.
Well, 7-Eleven, did that used to open at 7 and close at 11? Is that how that worked?
No, because I was often waiting outside there at about 7:30 when I had a late one, and it sometimes wasn't open.
Oh, well, I see. Well, that's Gareth who sent that in.
Yes.
Gareth.
Do you think Gareth listens to Absolute 80s and thinks, God, some of this is what? 30 years old?
Frank.
What?
Don't say it like that.
Sorry.
Tartan PJs and 3 Weimaraners hanging off them waiting for their walk.
3 Weimaraners.
Oh, did you say Weimaraners? I can never pronounce it.
I think it said 3.
Is it Weimaraners?
Yeah, I think it said 3 wide mariners.
That's what I thought.
I can never pronounce that.
What's a Weimaraner?
I thought it was the dog. Weimaraner.
Weimaraner, what is it?
It's those dogs that have got. It's hard. They're very silky.
Are they?
Silky of pelt.
Are they like whippets, Frank?
No, they're more statuesque. Very beautiful, blue-eyed. You sometimes see mock-up photographs of them in jackets and ties. There's an artist that does Weimaraner photo. They're very beautiful animals.
It's a word I've never encountered.
Whoa, Weimaraner, pretty little thing. Weimaraner dance, Weimaraner sing. If Weimaraner sing is listening, why doesn't she contact us? We'd love to hear from her.
Is that what someone's wearing?
Yes.
What, the dogs hanging off their pyjamas?
The tartan PJs.
So the dogs are print, or are they the real dogs?
No, that's the real.
They want to go for a walk. You weren't even listening, were you?
I was confused by the word.
I pronounced it wrong. You hadn't heard of it. Thanks it, thank God.
It was Emily's desk art.
He never even heard of it.
That was
at least I
awful.
had a stab at it.
Yeah, but it was... What did you call it again?
Weimaraner, I called it.
No, you didn't. You called it Weimaraners. Because I remember it sounded like mariner, as in he who lives on the sea.
No, I didn't.
You definitely... Well, can we get that? Can we replay it? Daisy's never looked more horrified in her life at the idea that we can just replay a section of the show. Well, yes, so Weimaraners.
Oh, don't tease me! Am I ever going to be able to forget this?
Did Elizabeth first say that? Weimaraners. she wouldn't have had that kind of accent. Maybe Elizabeth II.
Frank, have we got time for another email?
No!
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I am Frank Skinner, and I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. We're on Absolute Radio. We're talking, playing music, and adverts.
I mispronounced the dog breed earlier.
You did?
Yeah. I said...
Cool guys?
Jack Roussel is what I said, actually.
Jack Roussel, they should be called that. Hey, that'll teach them to be little and snappy. Let's give them a camp name. Or is that your Jacques Roussel?
Frank.
Can I give you an idiotic eureka moment?
You can, darling.
Which is when you get completely fooled by something. There's a picture of Kate Winslet in today's Sun because she's on the New Year's honours, not New Year's honours list, very late printing, on the birthday honours list.
Yes.
And there's a picture of her, you know that dress she wears, it's like an optical illusion.
The Stella McCartney dress, lovely.
Yeah, and it has like black bits around the side that makes her waist and hips look smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not know that was black
I'd
bits?
seen that dress 20 times and I looked at the picture this morning, I thought, gosh, she's looking svelte.
Right, I'm buying that dress.
Looking a bit svelte, you're an Ericsson, I thought. And I completely fell for a dress, an optical illusion I've already seen before. It's hardly Albrecht Dürer.
Do you know correct pronunciation? I was going to buy that dress. I tried one on last week, and I'm now going to. Now you've said that. Thank you.
Well, it completely fooled me.
Me too. I tried it on and didn't get it, but now I will.
Grace and Perry over there.
Instead of having black around the edges, get, say, brickwork. Something like that, so you can really good camouflage.
That would be really good, yeah.
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 Little tip there.
Or red as well, because you're always photographed against the red carpet.
Oh, yeah.
In her line of work.
Yeah, but you'd have to lie on it, wouldn't you?
Well, some do.
What you need is a bit... Do you remember the Arsenal mural? Which was just like people, faces.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you need someone like that. You need a crowd scene round the side.
Oh, like that fairground
If you don't know what
art.
we're talking about, you're probably already gone, so let's not even worry completing that sentence, as I think Ronnie Biggs once said. OK, what else?
We've had an email in a continuation of Email Corner.
We've had an email correspondence with an email home.
The medieval town cry is back. Dear Frank, Alun and Emily, I was on the bus to town this week with some friends and we started discussing who we'd pick as our celebrity mum and dad. After much thought and deliberation, I decided on Delia and Frank. Delia Smith, I presume.
Yeah.
For the obvious reasons of the cooking. And she seems like she'd always be able to pick you up from a party. And Frank, because...
always seem like she should be driving, as far as I've seen. Some of the clips when she started early. Let's be having you.
We've all seen that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And Frank, because I could be taught to play the banjo.
It's actually the ukulele.
Okay. And I can imagine there being a healthy balance of discipline and genuine happy chappiness.
Yeah, that sums up most of my relationships.
This got me wondering...
So I'd have to marry Delia, though, to do this.
Yes.
Yes. You see, Let's Be Having You is not so funny when
No.
it's coming from someone on silk sheets in a negligee. I'd find that intimidating in the extreme. Be a good Catholic upbringing, though. She goes to Mass every day. Takes communion every day, Delia Smith.
Does she?
Yeah, oh, God,
Oh,
yes.
she loves the communion.
Yeah, she does. French toast, I think she actually goes for.
This is... she's called Amina. She says, this got me wondering...
Amina or Amina?
No, Amina.
Okay.
Don't diss my pronunciation again. This got me wondering, who would the team pick as their celebrity mum and dad?
Well, certainly in my drinking days, I think I'd have gone for the Camerons.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
On that celeb parents email, I like the fact that the lady picked Frank based on the idea that there would be discipline and cheeky chappiness.
Yes.
It's almost like she's a parent already and she knows, well, they do need some discipline.
Oh, they need some discipline.
And they
You
need
can't
some
let them.
cheeky chappiness.
You can't let them run riot.
Love and boundaries, that's all it is.
I also
Tune in
like-
next week to Parent Hour on Absolute Radio.
Love and boundaries. I
That's
like
it.
it.
That's it in a nutshell.
I
I
like
believe that's the title of Andrew Strauss's autobiography.
I like that she had a little caveat at the end of the email and she said, it doesn't matter if they've passed. Which I thought was
What?
useful.
If
Well, she
you're
means the
picking
celebrity
celeb
parents.
Oh, you can have dead
Yes.
celebrity parents.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they've passed,
Oh, okay, fair enough.
is what she
I
says.
might have the Brownings.
Do you want to know who... the Brown...
Robert and Elizabeth.
Lovely.
I think I'd go for... as acknowledgement of, how times have changed, I think my celebrity parents would be the communards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what sort of civil partnership?
Yeah, because Richard Coles is a priest now, isn't he?
Yes.
So yes, you get your spiritual, and Jimmy Somerville. It'd be nice to have a parent who always spoke highly of you. The only way is up. Oh, that's not him. Yeah, but yeah, I'd quite.
Was that Yaz?
That was Yaz. Yeah.
Yes.
I'd quite go for being the child of a civil partnership.
Do you know, so would I, Frank. I'd like Henry VIII as a father. Hear me out. I know you think he might be quite a disciplinarian.
Yeah.
The dinners would be good.
Well, also, I think I'd be very good running around corridors in a corset. I think I would have been good at court.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Henry VIII's your father. You're liable to lose an eye from a flying chicken
No,
leg.
I
in
would
childhood.
have manipulated him.
Okay.
And I would have liked, if this was possible, I know they weren't around at the same time.
No.
But I think him and Gok Kwan, quite a good civil partnership.
God, didn't Henry VIII alienate the Pope enough without marrying Gok Kwan?
We could talk our way out of being murdered. We'd be quite a team.
Yeah.
I think it would be great.
Would you have to say something like 9th time lucky or 10th time lucky or something?
No, well, that would... there's... I don't think anyone's going to come up with anything much more unusual than Henry VIII and Gok Kwan.
Surely if you're having a civil partnership as your celeb parents, Ant and Dec, they're cheeky chappies, aren't they?
That's true, actually. And then they get on... I shouldn't think there'd be much falling out at home.
You'd get to meet a lot of the people that are, like, Vogue, wouldn't you?
You'd have to wear quite big trainers. And
Yes.
you'd have to wear those black and grey type jackets buttoned up that they wear, like big jeans. And I don't know if I'd like that.
I tell you who'd be good. Jaws and Esther Ranson. You know, Jaws the baddie from Bond.
I thought you meant the shark. I thought that's not allowed.
Braces. And
Yeah.
Esther Ranson, you'd have perfect teeth between the two of them, wouldn't you?
Well, his were metal, weren't they?
I thought they were braces. I thought there were those braces.
No, I think they were actually metal.
Oh, right. I'll take it back.
I think
was a
Claire
terrible
Balding would be
idea.
a nice mother as well.
Yeah?
Again.
You've gone through the civil partnership ceiling. I mean, you know, we're allowed a heterosexual option, are we?
Paul
Just for
Daniels
variety.
and Fiona Bruce. Because she's nice and knows about antiques and stuff. And when he does tricks, that'd be quite good if you were a kid. But also, she's got that arched eyebrow thing, so she'd look surprised whenever he did his magic tricks.
You've really gone on for this.
I think that's a good idea, don't you?
Yeah. Have you got a long list of other
It's just
people?
awesome.
Fiona Bruce and Paul Daniels. I think you might have just edged Henry VIII and Gok Kwan in the weirdness front. God, I thought Communard's starting to sound a bit middle of the road.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Real sheep, real cows, real horses, real grass, real ploughing, 2 battling mosh pits.
Is this the opening to We Buy Any Cars?
What am I talking about?
No, it was last night at mine.
The Olympic Games opening ceremony.
Oh, yes, real sheep and cows.
It's exciting, that, isn't it?
It's a terrible idea.
Not least for the Daily Mail comments for people going, oh, they're going to mistreat the animals. And
Yeah, I don't know. See, us circus fans have been denied the delights of live animals for many a long year now.
And I like
And
to
now, suddenly, Olympics, all bets are off.
And
Danny
they're fabulously
Boyle.
unpredictable, which is what we like.
Danny Boyle said that the animals would be treated better than the volunteers, which in itself is British, isn't it? To
Yes.
think that you treat animals better than humans.
Particularly after Jubilee Gate.
But the mosh pits...
Mosh pits?
It doesn't quite fit, does it? It's green and pleasant land with mosh pits. I imagine that, say, for example, the cattle and sheep are going to be crowd surfed across, obviously against their will, slightly distressed, kicking out.
Yes.
But wouldn't that be a brilliant thing to see them being crowd surfed across a big mosh pit?
Oh, yeah. They might not like
I'd like
it,
to
though.
see some horses jumping in the pool. That'd be dramatic.
Yeah. But I thought it could end in like a spit roast over the Olympic flame.
Olympic barbecue.
Yeah, with the cattle being slaughtered by something very British, like say a David Beckham lookalike,
Oh, that'd be good, yeah.
and then on a rotisserie.
Will they be on Leeds, or will it be all go a bit dogs in Birmingham? Will they just be wandering around free?
They'll be on until they're actually secured on a spit. They'll be roaming free until they get big screen the roast beef of Old England as the smoke goes up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, brilliant! I'm liking the set. I like the British theme, although it is
Do you?
the London Olympics, not actually the British Olympics.
Well, this is true.
It should have been Pearly Queens and
The English Olympics.
It should
Is that
have
what you're
been. It's a
suggesting?
small world.
just London, really.
It should have been. It's a small world version. Oh, and they should have had a little St Paul's and a mini Shard, and the world's smallest men could have been running around.
Well, I'd have been, yeah, but he wouldn't have been my first choice. I think Danny Boyle is he? Does he do many ceremonies?
I don't know how many ceremonies.
You know they
he's
should have
done.
got in, guys.
Barlow.
Yes, it should have been Gary Barlow. I'm sorry, but even you're going to have to accept.
I
The
was
guy
thinking,
knows the guy knows his onions when it comes to party organising.
I was thinking Stilgo, possibly.
With Jenny Agutter in a Sebastian Coe role.
Now that he's back, it's. I was hoping they weren't going to have one at all. You know, there was a theory that because of these are hard times, that rather than follow the Chinese one, which is unfollowable, that it would be like Boris on a bike holding a small Union Jack, and really sort of be an anti-opening ceremony. And that would have been brilliant. But David Beckham will be involved. He hasn't been mentioned, but he's involved in everything now, isn't he, of that nature?
Do you know what they could do, the most British one, and just have a really small, cheap, like Boris riding around on a bike, and then just have us all do like a group tut, like
that'd be brilliant. Combined with a Mexican wave of some kind.
Q.
I'm nervous about. Is it going to be that sort of green fabric they have in the greengrocers, the itchy one, the AstroTurf?
thing.
Is that what it's going to be?
Apparently, it's going to be that 2D spiky green stuff that comes with sushi. And the cattle are going to have to walk in between lines of that. But it's I don't know. Why bother? Why not just have a small 8-year-old child sitting in a pub toilet set as a symbol of broken Britain?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
As we've heard from the outside world,
Brilliant.
this news just in from Martin. Well, I say just in. He actually emailed midweek.
Okay.
But don't be petty. Hi, Frank, the lovely Emily and the Cockerel. I've been terribly bored at work today, and through reading a very random chain of Wikipedia articles, I came across an entry about the boy Jones, a man
Yes.
from Victorian times who had an obsession with breaking into Buckingham Palace. He seems like a very interesting, albeit very, very strange chap, and I thought it might interest you vis-à-vis Peter the Wild, etc.
Yeah, so we've been talking about this, and we looked up the boy Jones. My first thing I like about him is he died from a drunken fall in 1893. So already, he's my kind of guy.
Yeah, he had you at drunken.
And the fact that he was called the boy Jones reminds me of that period in when they used to say that man Shearer every time he scored a goal in his early days. But yeah, he was incredible. He got in, he stole some of Queen Victoria's bloomers and stuff.
He was one of the first celebrity stalkers.
He was, yeah, respect.
He was found with Queen Victoria's underwear stuffed down his trousers.
So was Queen Victoria,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you think about it.
One rule for...
Yeah, exactly.
He ended up in prison, but he then... he went to Australia. I say he went to Australia like, I'll go out with my wife and kids. I think he might have been sent there. And he was a seller of pies.
I tell you, Wikipedia is
seller.
how did we live before Wikipedia?
The more I hear about this guy, the more I like him.
Yeah.
He also did...
Not a pie seller, a seller of pies.
he did a musical act based on being a royal stalker.
Did he?
Yeah. It's like, in nowadays, people can become celebrities through dark deeds.
Through crime, yeah.
Yeah, he used to do an act. I love that. That's what the Victorians did. They would put real people on stage, recreating their... Like Sitting Bull used to be in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. Chief Sitting Bull used to just write... He refused to take part in any of the ceremony. He wasn't even in the Little Big Horn recreation. I mean, surely that's where you get Sitting Bull. But anyway, he used to go round on a horse... just a one circuit, and then that'd be it. That'd be it for Sitting Bull for that night.
Frank, that was like Mickey Rooney in that panto we saw. That's essentially all he did. He just stood up.
But he just was there so people can say, I saw Chief Sitting Bull.
Brilliant.
But what a brag that would be to have seen him live. I mean, in his golden years, before he started doing stuff about having kids.
Frank, I've had one of my injuries. You know how you sometimes have one of your falls?
Yes.
I've had a bit of an incident with my back recently.
Oh, dear. It's big of you to admit that, I know.
Nothing bad happened, but I don't know what... it was like being an old woman, because I bent down...
Oh, God, I can't believe she said that.
I was actually doing the gardening.
Me and Alan don't know where to look.
I wasn't even at a premiere
No.
with a footballer. I was bending down doing the gardening. Yes. You've seen my concrete patch.
I have seen it. And it's as neat as they get. So what... Oh, dear.
And I heard a little click, Frank, and I didn't like the sound of it.
No. Were you hoping it was paparazzi? No, there was I realised this because Emily dropped a magazine last week and said to Daisy, could you pick that up for me? And Daisy gave her the most across-the-class divide look I've ever... said, why can't you pick it up? And I think she thought
she did say that.
Emily was being a bit grand, but poor old Em just couldn't get down there. Simple as that.
I was. It was a bit of an Ina Sharples moment, Frank, for me. My first. But it was, you know what was good? I developed a new skill, which was because I couldn't bend over to pick up underwear, for example.
Oh.
I used my toes to pick up my smalls. And a sort of arcade claw mechanism.
Yeah.
Oh, you actually... Because I'll tell you what I've been doing for years, if I may reveal this on...
Please do.
When I take my my underpants off in the evening, I just let them drop. And then I take them on, I slightly hook the right foot, and I spin them into the air, catch them, and put them straight into the...
Yeah.
Do you do that, Al?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I used to dream as a young man that I might reach a level of dexterousness where I could do it the other way around and actually put them on in the morning with the aid of throwing them into the air and doing a quick handstand.
That would be good.
Oh, man, if they just dropped on you like that, like something out of... You know, when the Thunderbird 3 is heading for the...
You know, like a version of when hat jugglers put the hat on their foot and spin it round, then flick it up to their head. It'd be like that, but the other way.
Or just throw the pants into the air and run and leap at them, feet first.
Oh, that's
cartwheel into them.
Yeah.
That would be it. Magic.
But I did find that I might do it now. I do it with my handbag, pick it up with my big toe sometimes now, just because I can. But
because I'm tall, I see this as being welcome to my world. It takes me about 15 minutes to bend down to pick something up. So this is just it. That's what you do. Pick it up, get the old claws on.
But it does make me feel ancient having a back in. It made me realise though, I'm saying me back. I can't watch telly without a puff.
No, well, that's what happens to women of your age. You can sell a black.
It's that or a cat in it.
Oh dear.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, we were talking about feeling old.
With all your aching back.
Me back.
Yeah.
Which I've been saying.
It's a bit like I Ate That Duck. It's got that same sound of resonance to it. All me back.
I've started signing off emails. Best, Emily.
Have you?
That's quite an old lady's thing, isn't it? Best wishes is bad. Oh, best wishes.
I had a bit of an old person's thing. I was in A&E.
Oh, I was in that. He played Jason the Asthmatic.
I did indeed.
And the nurse said to me, "You look a bit. I think you're a bit shocked. I'll make you a hot, sweet tea." Now, I haven't had sugar in tea for 25 years. I gave up. And on occasions, I accidentally had somebody give me one, accidentally put sugar. It's horrible.
Really?
But I thought, maybe I've been hasty when I tasted it. I thought maybe I'll go back. Now, that's an old thing, isn't it? Sugar in tea.
Yeah, it's lovely though, isn't it?
And also going about things you like is quite an old thing.
For me, it's the grooming. I've started to buy things from the large pharmacy in the high street to do what my body used to do. I caught myself the other day buying eye drops to make my eyes sparkle. I was very tired.
To make your eyes sparkle?
You can get eye drops
Simon Cowell,
make your eyes sparkle.
Yes,
right?
I'm aware of them, but it's people like Simon Cowell that buy them.
Well, and also incredibly tired individuals like I was that day, and I just thought, I'm going to have a go at that.
Such a dark horse.
I'm going to have a go at that.
In fact, on this occasion, he's more of a My Little Pony.
I think I probably had some kind of professional engagement where I thought I'll fake not being exhausted. And then I thought, my body used to just do this for me, didn't it?
What, make your eyes sparkle?
I just used to look all right, and I used to go out
eyes over
wondering. It's like moisturising, isn't it? Like I used to be moist, now I'm faking that
dry.
As well.
You're dry now.
Now I'm dry.
Are you buying moisturiser?
Oh, I've been buying moisturiser for years, but, we all have, haven't we? But it used to be natural, didn't it?
I haven't.
No?
No, I have, actually. That's a lie.
You're very moist.
I've had to, I know. I've dried out. I'm like an old log. I have little more to add to today, except thank you for listening, and if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. hopefully by which time England will have gone even further in the European Championships. We love you all.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.